Right now, Chick-fil-A is quietly preparing to launch its own streaming platform, filled entirely with original, commissioned programming. They aren't the only ones. Dick's Sporting Goods recently launched Cookie Jar and a Dream Studios, a dedicated internal production wing for original documentaries, while Nike built out Icon Studios LA to house its massive global imaging operations. The traditional 30-second commercial is losing its grip. Audiences routinely scroll past product-led messaging, forcing marketers to pivot toward high-quality, story-led films and streaming-style episodes to actually hold attention. Renting short bursts of attention on someone else's platform is yielding diminishing returns. To survive in the modern market, a brand must operate as its own media studio and own its narrative outright. Building a flagship internal studio requires massive capital expenditure. You need physical sound stages, cinema-grade camera packages, lighting grids, and a full-time crew of highly specialized technicians. That heavy upfront cost instantly prices out regional and mid-sized companies. They simply cannot absorb the enterprise-level overhead required to keep a dedicated facility running year-round. Outsourcing everything to an advertising agency on a project-by-project basis is incredibly expensive and notoriously slow. Each new bid includes hefty agency margins and drawn-out bureaucratic communication cycles. Conversely, hiring a small team of junior in-house videographers saves money, but the output rarely meets the cinema-quality polish that modern consumers expect from the media they consume daily. This chart shows production quality plotted against financial cost. High-quality agency work sits in the expensive top right corner, while cheap, low-tier video sits in the bottom left, leaving a massive, empty middle zone where affordable, high-volume storytelling should exist. The vast majority of brands are trapped by this exact dynamic. They are priced out of Hollywood-level production, yet realize that cheap corporate video actively damages their prestige. The structural solution to this trap is an embedded, outsourced production wing. Instead of building the infrastructure yourself, you partner with a studio like Evervolve AI to act as your permanent content engine. This replaces the bloated, one-off commercial bid with a continuous retainer plus project model. The studio handles the heavy fixed costs of equipment and crew, while you pay a predictable rate for ongoing output. Our three-tiered structure starts by transforming a standard retainer into frequent social videos. The growth tier expands, producing a flagship documentary sliced into shorter, cohesive pieces. Finally, the enterprise tier overlays a complex global network with fully embedded production leads. By organizing the relationship this way, any company can access the exact creative output of a fully staffed film studio without carrying the immense financial risk of the underlying physical assets. Generating that volume of cinema-grade footage usually requires a bloated budget. Delivering it efficiently requires a completely different operational mechanics. AI-enabled workflows aggressively cut down pre-production friction, snapping fragmented processes together in order to drastically accelerate complex post-production timelines. Modern virtual stages and remote production technology allow directors to capture global-scale cinematic visuals without constantly flying large teams around the world, completely eliminating heavy travel logistics. Every shoot also feeds into a centralized brand asset library. Over time, custom templates and archival B-roll compound in value, making each subsequent project cheaper and faster to produce. By combining strict asset management with artificial intelligence, technology has finally decoupled premium narrative storytelling from traditional Hollywood pricing. Executing isolated video projects creates constant logistical exhaustion. Shifting to a continuous content ecosystem brings complete operational predictability to your marketing. This blueprint shows the ecosystem in practice. A single, high-quality flagship film sits at the center, systematically broken down into a year-long, multi-platform pipeline of targeted video assets. Regardless of the actual product or service being sold, every successful brand is now effectively forced to operate as a media company. Modern viewers watch high-end streaming platforms every night. They do not lower their visual or narrative expectations just because a piece of content was commissioned by a non-media brand. Brand leaders face a stark choice. They can either spend millions of dollars and several years trying to build an internal studio from scratch, or they can plug directly into an existing scalable engine. Partnering with an embedded studio like Evervolve AI is the most mathematically and strategically sound way to claim your content ecosystem and own your brand's narrative in the modern market.